It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings, and greetings. Welcome to another X and Y show, and I'm your host, Roosevelt. You have to forgive me tonight. I'm a little under the weather. Getting in water and coming out with my head wet and all that kind of stuff. It's a long story, but so if I sound a little funny, you have to forgive me for that. But I am drinking plenty of orange juice and drinking plenty of chicken soup, and I should be back to my normal self in no time. Now, as usual, you can catch the XY show on many different venues, whatever is convenient to you. I'm on iTunes, I'm on TuneIn, I'm on Stitcher, I'm also on Google Play, and I'm also on Spreaker. That's my main platform. You can catch all my archived episodes there for any shows that you may have missed. I'm also on social media. I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find all of that on my website, www.thexyshow.com, and you'll be able to follow me on the various platforms, iTunes, etc., and listen to shows that's from your favorite platform that you like to listen to. You can follow me on all my social media as well, and also find out upcoming shows that's coming down the pipe. So go to www.thexyshow.com and feel free to take advantage of that, and also send me a note or feedback on the show, what you think, any opinions or any constructive criticism that you may have, and I'll be sure to take them to heart. Now, with that being said, tonight's episode is a very, very special episode. Fortunately, I've never had to go through something like this, but I've had friends who have, and that's basically when their parents get a divorce. I have friends, their parents got a divorce, broke up the family, and it kind of affected the friends. A lot of times they didn't admit it, but I from knowing them so well, I knew that it really did affect them. Some more than others, depending on the family structure and how strong it was in the first place. But divorce is not a good thing. So obviously, it's going to have a negative impact on the family. And all those, who's involved, the husband, the wife, and the children as well. And sometimes even the secondary families. So with that being said, tonight's episode is The Divorce is Final. What now? The divorce is final. What now? And a lot of times what now means a lot of other shit is coming down the pipe that is not good for anybody. I'm basically talking about a couple that gets a divorce and it's not a good divorce. And no divorce is good. However, I believe a divorce can be civil. You know, you can still treat each other with respect, you know, some compassion. I mean, you're both going through the same thing. I mean, really, this is a person that you had children with, or you might have not had children yet, but this is definitely a person that you took vows with a year ago, or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever the length that your marriage lasted. This was a person that you loved at one point in your life. So it would seem that if you get a divorce and things don't work out, you would actually, you know, at least treat each other civilly. Ideally, that's the way it should go, but realistically, a lot of times that's just not the way it is. Me personally, I think divorce is bullshit. I think that divorce is for a bunch of pussies. You know, a lot of times people use we're getting divorced for unreconcilable differences. What the hell is that? You know, we just grew apart from one another. We don't communicate. We don't see eye to eye anymore. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, you know, I mean everything. You know, when we first got married, we had the we liked the same temperature in the room at 76. Now he wants it at 60, and we're just different. We're growing apart. You know, and I use that as an example, but I mean, it's some of the silly ass reasons people get divorces. And I agree. Sometimes, you know, the reasons sound real and realistic or legit, but a lot of times it's just a bunch of bullshit, you know. Now, I say that because I come from a family whose my mother and father were married 53 years. And I'm not saying that it was a perfect marriage. I don't think any marriage is perfect. But it was a good marriage. It was a solid marriage. It was a loving marriage. And it was an example to me. You just don't give up every time some turmoil or every time some differences come in within the marriage. You just don't give up and grow apart from one another. You work it out. And, so that's why I don't believe in divorce. I think divorce is for a bunch of pussies. So that's my personal opinion. I'm entitled to my personal opinion, you know. So, but I say that because, you know, a lot of times divorce, unfortunately, brings on a lot of other negative activity, another level of negative outcome, and that's why I really wanted to talk about this tonight, because I think divorces, you know, evidently they're on the uprise, of course. I mean, you get more divorces today than, I mean, you know, it's almost like when someone gets gets married, you almost expect them that they'll be divorcing within 5 years. So, you know, divorces become a common thing almost, you know, especially among the celebrities. Well, I shouldn't say that. It appears that way because, you know, they're in the limelight and things like that. But regular people get divorced too. And they get divorced a lot as well. They're just not as publicized as celebrities. So I'm not going to put celebrities out there like they're getting more divorces than everyone else. But I want to talk about the negative impact that divorces could have on a family. And now, you already know my opinion. I think divorces are bullshit. I think they're for a bunch of pussies. The only way that I believe that you should get a divorce if you were cheated on. Adultery was within the marriage. If your wife cheated on you or your husband cheated on you, yes, that is grounds for divorce. But anything else, no. You took a vow and you're supposed to stay there. But anyway, let me move on. Some divorces, I believe that violence becomes a present thing in divorces because of mainly a lot of financial stress. And when I see that, I believe that the laws within the country, within many states, favor the woman. And I think that they're unfair. And I'm not saying that because I'm a man, because I'm not. Shit. But I'm saying that they're just not fair. They favor the woman, and a lot of times, leave the man with hardly anything. And I believe that is a reason why there might be violence, in a result of a divorce. And there have been some instances where the woman has paid alimony to the man as well. Being that they're a celebrity and very rich and so forth. And I think that's unfair as well. I'm not saying that the man having to pay the woman is only unfair. I'm talking about both scenarios. I don't think any person should pay an exorbitant amount of alimony or anything of that nature to the other party just because they're rich. I just don't think that's fair. And I think that is the main reason why you have so much violence within divorces. Because one member or one party, usually the richer party, become subject to financial stress from the court ordered amount of alimony or child support that they have to pay to the wife or the ex-wife and the children and so forth. Henceforth, as a result, the man has a negative feeling or anger towards his ex-wife that might cause violence, and unfortunately, it might pass on to the children. He might take his anger and hostilities out on his children to get back at his ex-wife. And that's unfortunate, and I think that could be avoided. Let me give you some headliners that, are examples of how the divorce can become ugly after it's final or in the middle of one, or the transition of a divorce. Let's see here. This is a Decatur story. Roger Dole Stevens killed his ex-wife after divorce was final. Said he, quote, "She got everything. She got everything." That's what he was quoted as saying. So he killed his ex-wife. Another headliner. Husband killed wife by shooting her in the head after meeting with a divorce attorney. And this is in South Lake, Texas. Vermont, which surprised me, Vermont. I thought, Vermont just... but anyway. Man beats his wife to death after she told him she had filed for divorce. And he dumped her body in the woods. This was in Vermont. Another headliner. Fort Bend, Texas. A woman by the name of Charity Sheets shoots and kills her 2 daughters after being told by her husband that he wanted a divorce. You hear what I said? shoots and kills her 2 daughters after her husband told her that he wanted a divorce. Another headliner. A West Michigan woman plotted to have her husband killed for $50,000. Plan was, of course, thwarted by an undercover detective. Yeah, she was arrested and, going to jail and so forth. She was quoted as saying it would be easier to kill his ass instead of getting a divorce. So she didn't want to get that. She didn't want to get that far. She just said, "I just kill his ass and be done with it." Damn, that's kind of scary, actually. This is somebody he was married to, who you're supposed to love and took vows and made love to, and they're plotting to kill you, or they actually kill you, and throw your body in the woods, or beat you to death, shoot you in the head. This is someone that used to say, "I love you." So what could take a person that overboard to actually kill someone? What could cause that? Now, I think maybe a lot of things could cause it. Let's be honest. But since we're talking about divorce and violence in divorces, I think 3 major reasons. Well, 2. But one is another secondary reason that might cause a person to actually go overboard and go to the extreme. The first one would be extreme jealousy, of course. If he caught your husband or your wife with another woman, it might take somebody overboard. Get a divorce. You might see them after divorce and see them happy with another man or woman. It might tip somebody over. He wasn't happy with me. He cheated on me with her. He's happy. I'm miserable. I'm going to kill him. Another reason is crazy as hell. A lot of times, people are crazy in a divorce. The craziness is like dormant, but a divorce, brings it out. Stops them from being dormant. So, they get crazy and they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. And another major ultimate reason is financial strain. That's why I believe that changes have to be made in laws of spousal support, child support, that kind of thing. I think that it's only fair. And I believe, of course, I can't prove it because the only way I can prove it is actually the laws get put in place and we look at the trends over time. But I really believe if spousal support laws and divorce laws and proceedings were changed and modified to be more fair and not to favor one of the party, I really believe that there will be less violence in divorces, less chance of violence in divorces. I also believe that every couple that's going through a divorce should have psychiatric evaluation. I really do. I believe that they should go through, being evaluated to make sure that they're okay mentally. I'm just, a divorce could have a very negative, a very major effect on a person. Now, I've never been divorced, but I've seen the effects that it could have on a person. I've had friends that were the nicest guys, and after divorce, they just they turned into Hannibal Lecter or some shit. I mean, I was scared around them. Shit. I didn't want to be around them in the dark. I mean, they were just so angry. I mean, they were so bitter. They just wanted to hurt something. I just don't believe that, it should be that way. I really don't. I mean, but you think about it, you put yourself in their shoes, getting a divorce and losing everything, or almost everything, losing a house, had to pay spousal support, had to pay child support, they can't afford anything, had to get a roommate or roommates, or even move back home with their parents. That kind of shit would work on your head, before you even get your check, a third of it gone, I mean, and I'm not saying that a man shouldn't take care of his obligations. I'm not saying that a man shouldn't take care of his children. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that there should be a way to make it fair, with child support. But more importantly, spousal support. That's the one I really have a problem with. Child support, you have to support your kid. Sometimes it is ridiculous, especially when they're like a celebrity status. They have to pay some exorbitant amount, like $30,000 a month and all that shit, which is bullshit. But I'm really talking about spousal support. Why should a man have to pay a woman money, because they were married? And I know some of you women out there saying, well, she was a housewife and she gave up her career and blah, blah, blah. And, she should get something for sacrificing her life for him, blah, blah, blah. And I actually agree. She should get something from that. But how much, when is something too much? So I mean, some women, you heard the story, some women are on spousal support for a lifetime. I mean, I know plenty of women like that, getting spousal support checks from their husbands and been getting it for over 20 years. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. 1 year, 2 years, even 5 years. But after 5 years, you need to get your ass a job. You can work. You can go back to school like you wanted to, or go back to your career like you wanted. I mean, how long should a man have to take care of a woman if they got a divorce? Putting financial stress on him, financial stress that may be too much, and causing him to go to the next level of doing something drastic. It all could be avoided. I'm going to give you some divorce numbers. Now, I looked on, this is from Wikipedia. It was some of the highest settlements that were achieved by the exes after they got a divorce. And when I was looking at this, I was like, damn, I didn't know someone was just big. And it is phenomenal. This is bullshit. But anyway, let me just name a few. Guy named Bernie Ecclestone. Ecclestone? I don't know, some rich motherfucker. He had to pay his ex-wife between $1 and $1.2 billion. He had to pay his wife between $1 and $1.2 billion. Now that's bullshit. That's what that B stand for beside that amount. Bullshit. I don't care how rich he was. There's no way he should have to pay that woman that kind of money. That's bullshit. But anyway, let me keep going. Tiger Woods. Everybody know about Tiger when he got divorced. He had to pay his wife $100 million plus. Mel Gibson, $425 million. Michael Jordan, $168 million. Neil Diamond, $150 million. Greg Norman, $103 million. Kevin Costner, $80 million. Kenny Rogers, $60 million. James Cameron, $50 million. Johnny Carson from his wife, Joanna Holland, estimated $20 million. Adrian Kasaga, I think that's what that shit is, $850 million. And Madonna had to pay Guy Ritchie, estimated between $76 and $92 million. Now, I threw Madonna in there because I believe, like I said before, it's not because, it just happens to men more often. Men are fucked more often than women. I mean, there's some women that get fucked too, but more often it's the men who are getting fucked when these spousal support, when they get a divorce. But it's not fair to Madonna either. I don't think, I didn't see Guy Ritchie singing Like a Virgin. I didn't see him on stage with her. I didn't see Jordan wife shooting free throws. I didn't see Tiger wife getting eagle shots. I didn't see Mel Gibson ex-wife in Lethal Weapon. None of them. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that they didn't do anything. I'm not saying that they weren't important in the family structure. Not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying, damn, how much is too much? So even for a rich person such as these, I can go on and on, but just these examples that I've given you, I don't care how rich you are. If you're paying somebody $1 and $1.2 billion, that's stress like a motherfucker. That is financial stress like a motherfucker. I don't care how rich you are. So imagine a regular guy like me, or a regular guy like you, or someone who's not affluent, judge telling you, you making such and such amount of money, okay, we're going to take a third of it every month. You have to pay her spousal support and child support. So you look and you see how much you make and you say, damn, I can't even afford to get an apartment. I'm losing my house, losing my family, losing my kids. Can't see them every day anymore. Losing all my shit. And I got to pay this bitch an exorbitant amount of money. I got to pay her a lot of money. And I'm speaking that way. That's not how I'm talking. I'm speaking, how a guy would be thinking. I got to pay this bitch, That's how I'm speaking. Okay. So I got to pay this bitch all this money. Fuck! So he gets taken over the limit. So that's when shit start running through his head. I'm going to kill this bitch. I'm going to run this bitch over. I'm going to get even with her. I'm sick of this bitch. I'm suffering because of her. She is the root of my problems. I'm going to get her. And I'm not saying every guy does that. It's not, obviously that's not the case. But a lot of them do. And a lot of them do that we just haven't heard about. They're not on 11 o'clock news, but a lot of people get taken to that moment where they just say, fuck it. My life is fucked up anyway. And it's fucked up because of her. I'm going to get her ass and make her suffer too. Or make him suffer too. You know, it can go both ways as well. It's not just the men. You know, it's women as well who have anger issues. You know. So that's why I say laws need to be changed to make settlements more reasonable. You know, it shouldn't matter if a person is a millionaire. You know, well, just because you're a millionaire, okay, we're going to give her a half. You have 10 million, we'll give her 5 million. Yeah, that's come on, man. I'm saying break her off some, you know, but just don't, or break him off some, but don't give the other person, just because they're not the rich party, you know, don't give them damn near, you know, a big piece of the pie. I don't think that's fair. That shit ain't right. It's not right. And I believe that if laws were changed, it would stop a lot of violence when divorces happen. I believe a lot of violence stem from financial stress of one party. Most of the time it's the man, because they're the ones that get fucked in most divorce proceedings, especially if it's a woman judge. That's right, I said it. Especially if it's a woman's judge. But if you think that damn woman judge is not going to be biased towards your ass when you step before her in a divorce proceeding, then you are delusional. She's going to take care of her sister. And she's going to get your ass. It's women against men. It's not going to be fair. Fuck fair. She's going to get your ass. So, you know, with that being said, I just believe that laws need to be changed and put in place when it comes to spousal support. You know, and child support as well. I'm not saying that they shouldn't pay child support, but it should be laws to make it fair. And spousal support should not be for fucking life. You know, at the most 5 years, and you get your ass a job. What the hell that man got to take care of you for? Or what the hell that woman got to take care of you for? Get your ass a job. Okay, you've been taken care of for 5 years. Time to go to work. Anyway. But that's what I'm saying. A person that's going through any financial strains after the divorce, it's at least a 50-50 chance that it would take them over, you know, over that limit. It's a 50-50 chance. I mean, think about it. You're losing all your shit. Pretty much. You lost your house. Probably your car. Can't afford to get a new car. You know. Can't afford to even get an apartment. You got to get a roommate. Live with your mama and daddy. You know. You miserable. Can't go. I mean, you buy a pair of shoes. You broke. You don't fuck with anybody. After a while, even myself, I had to think about that. I said, damn, I'd be thinking about some shit if that happened to me. That's only human. It's only human. So I believe that financial stress is definitely a cause of violence after a divorce. You know, if one person is under a lot of financial strain because of a divorce, then they're going to blame the person that divorced them. The man, the wife, the ex-wife, or the ex-husband. One of the two. And a lot of times they're going to get vengeance. They're going to get vengeance on that person. Or, unfortunately, the children. Unfortunately, the children. Now, when I first started this episode, it was an episode that was basically talking about, when a couple splits up, it could be a beginning of an all-out war. And a war that could have casualties within it. And a lot of times the casualties are the children, unfortunately. Now, I've, seen some divorces that were good. I've seen some divorces that were bad. I've seen divorces that were very surprising, meaning I didn't know people could do the things that they did. I didn't know. I never thought. You would think someone, and they do some shit, and you're like, damn, I can't believe that person did that. And you find that you really didn't know that person at all. You didn't know their capabilities. You didn't know what they were capable of until they reached their darkest hour, until they reached their lowest point, and you've seen the maximum ugly come out. And unfortunately, sometimes that ugly is portrayed on the children. I've seen where on the man's side, where a man doesn't pay child support, thinking because he's going to get back at the woman. Say, well, I'm not happy, and you got your new family, your new husband. I ain't paying shit. I'm not paying child support. Fuck you and fuck that little bastard. So they don't pay child support, thinking that they're going to get back at the ex-wife. When in reality, they're hurting their children. They're hurting their child. But that's what I'm saying. They're under such financial strain, and they want to get vengeance. Remember that? They're bitter. They're angry. So they're not thinking logically. They're just thinking about getting even. I'm going to get that bitch. She took all my shit. I'm going to make her suffer. I'm not paying you shit. I'm not giving you no child support, nothing. But they're not thinking that they're hurting their blood. They're hurting their children. They're not supporting their daughter. They're not supporting their son. But that's what financial strain will do in a divorce or a split up. Another way a man might get back, not spending time with their kids. Just using their kids to get back at their ex-wife. Or when they spend time with their kids, it's not anything significant. They might come give them a lollipop or something and say, hey, all right, boy, I'll see you next week. And, don't show up. Bullshit. Not spending time with their kids. Not wanting to see their kids. Not wanting to have any interaction with their kids while they're growing up. Trying to get back at their ex-wife. I'm going to show her. Just silly asses. Your kids are only kids for a little while. They'll never be 4 again. They'll never be 8 again. They'll never be 12 again. They'll never be a teenager again. Once you lose those years, you lost them forever. You know, that's how a logical person would see. You know, I can't, you know, we're already split up. I'm split up with his mom. I got to spend time with my kids every point I can manage. Weekends, okay, we're going to be together every second. But you got some silly asses out there, you know, trying to get even with their ex-wife and saying that, you know, I'm not spending time with the little bastard. Fuck him. Fuck you. Fuck both of y'all. I don't want to see none of y'all motherfuckers. And ultimately, they're hurting their kids. You know. Casualties of war. Casualties of war. Another instance a man might do, treating their kids bad. Or even abuse. My cold's getting a lot better, by the way. But even abuse their own kids. You know, just treat them like shit. You know, treat them bad. And even abuse. Trying to get back at their ex-wife. Trying to get even. Now, on the other side, you know, because it does work both ways, a woman, you know, that is still scorned by the father for whatever reason, you know, they're split up or divorced, and not allowing the father to see his kids. That's bullshit. You know. It works both ways, ladies. You thought I was going to let you off the... No. Ladies do some fucked up shit, too. Some women are so scorned, so angry, and get back at their ex-husbands, you know, by not allowing them to see their children. Or putting them through a lot of hoops and shit just to spend time with the kids. That should not be allowed. Using their kids as pawns to get back at the other party. Another instance, a woman might use child support to get back at the ex-husband. For example, a lot of states, it's actually a felony for a father to miss a certain amount of child support payments. You know, they can actually be picked up and arrested and shit and thrown in jail, and that's a felony. You know, a felony. It's not a misdemeanor, a felony. You got some silly ass women that actually would go through the system and do that, not thinking that if this father, this guy gets a felony, gets thrown in jail, gets a felony, he more than likely will lose his job that he has. And once he loses his job, he probably won't find one as good as he had because he can't get a job because he got a felony. So then you'll probably be end up getting lower child support anyway because, you know, the jobs that he find, he can't pay you that much. So he have his child support readjusted. My point is, that should not be used on a man. It's not helping anyone. It's not helping the man pay you child support. It's not helping you get child support from him if he can't pay you. He's in jail or he gets out of jail, can't holler find a job. It's not helping the kid. So who's that helping? But you don't give a damn because you just full of fire, full of scorn, and you want to get back at his ass, and you don't care. You just want to get him. unless you can prove that that man is abusing or physically or mentally abusing your child, you should never prevent a man from seeing his children. That should never come into play. That should never be allowed, no matter how angry you are at that person. You should never prevent them from seeing their children. And it goes both ways as well. When man who gets child support, child custody, and so forth. It goes both ways. So the point of this episode is, if you get a divorce, act civil. And I believe that laws should be in place to kind of course you that way. I don't think one person should pay an exorbitant amount of spousal support. You should pay a reasonable amount for at the maximum 5 years, and then you get your ass a job. Pay child support, a reasonable amount, and go from there. I don't think that one person within a divorce should get fucked. But unfortunately, that is happening every day. And most of the time, it's men who are getting fucked. Men are the ones getting fucked. And I believe that since those are the laws that we have in place where they're against men, because let's face it, most of the time when a man goes in a divorce court, he's finished. Until those laws are changed to make them more fair, make them more ideal, I think that divorce violence will continue. I think that, if we don't have safeguards in place, like the psychiatric evaluations, making sure that people are okay after they get divorced, I think that the violence will continue to happen. I think as long as one party is forced to take care of someone basically for the rest of their lives, the violence will continue. This is a person that you said, I love you and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you until death do us part. And you look around, you get a divorce, you really want to, in some cases, cause a lot of major bodily harm to that person. I don't think it has to be that way. I think it shouldn't be that way. If people break up, get a divorce, like I said earlier, in my opinion, I think you're a pussy. But that's just my opinion. But if you do get a divorce, I think that it should be at the most easiest possible. I mean, divorce is already a major thing or major event in two people's lives. You don't need to add on it. You don't need to make it worse. You don't need to make it worse on the involved parties, the kids, the secondary family, etc. When people get divorced, it should be quick. It should be fair. And I think that if that happens, or laws are put in place to make that happen, then I think that violence within the divorce or post-divorce would decrease. With the financial strain not being on a person or one person of the divorce, and a secondary effect that they wouldn't, theoretically, wouldn't take it out on their children. Well, I think it would help. Nothing is absolute, nothing is 100% sure, but I think it would help. Financial strain is a bitch. you have someone that's going through financial strain, and they seeing the other person that is putting them through that financial strain being happy and moving on with their lives, I could fuck with them. Fuck with them in a way that it makes them fuck them up. Makes them get even. Makes them the evil person. And that's something you just don't want. So, with that being said, if you know anyone that's going through a divorce, if you know someone who has gone through a divorce, just got it finalized and so forth, just pull them to the side. Talk to them. Take them out for a beer. Take them out for, if they don't drink, take them out for coffee. Or take them for a walk. But talk to them. Because, you don't know what that person is going through. He or she may be going through some shit that, they're about to go over. Like, they might have a smile on their face, but inside they are miserable. They're angry. They're bitter. They want to get even. Be a true friend. Be a true family member. If you love them, talk to them. Find out where their head is. Find out if they're okay. Just talk to them. Make things, or try to make things just a little better. You don't know, you might save lives. Or at least make an attempt to. And that's all you can do. Anyway, that will do it for tonight's episode of the X and Y Show. This was a very serious subject. And, it's a subject that, unfortunately, we see all too often. Divorce. I hate divorces. I really do. And I say again, I think if you get a divorce, you're a pussy. I said it. Yeah. But that's just my opinion. But, unfortunately, it's a common thing. But I think if we have divorces, I don't think that violence have to be expected after them. I think that the violence can be prevented. It's just something that we, as a society, have to address. If we address it, we can deal with it. If we can deal with it, we can conquer it. Anyway, that would do it for tonight's episode of the XY Show. I hope that you definitely enjoyed this episode. Next week, I will be talking about, when it comes to appearances, who's more critical, men or women. I already know the answer. But, I'm going to talk about it anyway. And if you feel that you'd like to give me some of your answers, your opinions on that subject, feel free to contact me. And you want to talk about this episode as well, or your input, might disagree or agree with some of the things I've said, feel free to send me a note. Everything will be welcome. Everything will be listened to. So I really appreciate you all who are listening to me on a weekly basis. I really do. I think that as the show progresses, I think that it'll only get better, and it'll definitely only get better if you just keep listening to me. But I want to thank you all. I love you. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Be aware of any upcoming episodes or events that's coming down the pike on the XY Show. Be sure to listen to all my platforms as well: iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, and also archive episodes on Spreaker as well. Be sure to subscribe, and you can find all of that again on my website, www.thexyshow.com. Be sure to stop by the XY Show store and get you a t-shirt and show that you are a true X and Wire as well. And also, again, leave any comments that you may have that might make me a little better. I doubt it, but it might. With that, I will say goodnight, and remember, you cannot have LOVE without X and Y. Good night, and I will see you next week. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.